thank you for being here.
No problem.
So we've studied a video that says modern methods of construction can build a house in 16 weeks instead of the traditional construction methods, which takes around 55 weeks. But people online don't believe it. But I want to explain why this works. But it only works if you do two specific things: design coordination and offsite in-situ interface.
Okay, so what are people saying doesn't work? So one of the comments online says that it's not that much cheaper. If you want something good quality and sustainable, 60 meters squared is still going to cost you at least $150,000. That doesn't include all the other fees involved, which ends up being more like $220,000.
The $70,000 gap is actually rework cost hiding inside there. The rework comes from design clashes caught after the factory already started. In traditional building, you fix it on site, but in prefabricated buildings, the whole module has to get remade. The ABC Handbook Section 3.1 says design coordination between engineering and architecture has to happen before fabrication starts. So the 16-week spend only works if architects and engineers lock in the fully resolved design first. In the video, the chairman of Prefab Oz says speed is one of the biggest benefits, but that speed only happens if the coordination is done up front. If it's not done, you're not saving time, you're just moving the rework to later when it costs way more money.
Okay, thank you for that. That's making a bit more sense. So another negative comment says, once you get council to approve it, which can take ages, it definitely looks quicker, but most of the cost I've been seeing on various prefab house websites is not cheap.
But the video doesn't show that after the council approves it, the site has to be ready before the module arrives. The ABC handbook says that off-site in-situ interface is critical, and construction tolerances, ground conditions, service connections all have to match what the factory builds. Factory builds to tight tolerances is for precision, but that precision fails if the site isn't prepared to match it. So the timeline isn't about factory production, it's about the site being ready at the same time. If site prep isn't done, modules arrive and they either sit around, which creates congestion and extra cost, or they get installed into unprepared site conditions, which can cause rework and delays on site. The video shows modules arriving and being installed, but it doesn't show the site prep work that has to happen before that moment. That's where the real delays come from, not the council, but the actual unprepared sites.
All right, I never thought delays happen for these kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know. Okay, here's another comment. So it says, I would like to hear more about increased security regarding crime and weather elements. It seems that the next step to housing is not to be compliant with current codes, but to be able to combat fire, wind and flooding that have been forecast to be larger issues in the future.
That's actually a really good point, because people have been wondering if the newer methods of construction, such as prefab housing, can actually handle these types of extreme weather. So factory modules can be built to tighter tolerances, which means they have higher performance, which means better durability. But this precision only works if the on-site connections, ground conditions, and the utilities are all prepared to match it. So quality and durability aren't factory problems, they're site coordination problems. That's why design coordination and site preparation up front aren't optional, they're what guarantee that the whole project works.
So you're saying that design has to be ready before the fabrication starts?
100%, yeah.
And also that the site has to be prepared and ready before the prefabrication arrives.
Yeah, exactly, that's spot on. So the video shows that 16 weeks is what it takes to build a modern method housing, but that is if it assumes that these two things are already done. If they're not, the timeline and the cost blow out of proportion. That's what the ABC handbook says has to be managed. Those are two practical strategies that turn the promise of 16 weeks into something real.